Despite the fact that lakes are not the largest reservoirs, they make up an important part of the Earth. There are more than 100 million people on Earth, and they do not cover 3.7% of the surface of the land. The length of the coastline of all the lakes in the world is about 250 times the length of the equator. So do not underestimate it, these small reservoirs, and as soon as you will find a reason why I present to your attention 10 amazing things found in the lake, have fun watching. Austria is undoubtedly one of the most wonderful countries of picturesque Europe. The landscape and natural attractions here in the ski resorts and high mountains hide a wonderful sight that you will not find anywhere in the world. The Green Lake is a beautiful place to visit by local tourists. Popularly known as Grunions pedestrian paths and park benches are submerged in water of 12 meters in winter, about mid-May, until the depth of the reservoir is only 1-2 meters. But with the advent of spring, the snow of the surrounding mountains completely melts. The trunks of flood trees trail. Benches and small pedestrian bridges. The water of the lake is incredibly cold and transparent, which gives the lake its eponymous color and ultimately the nickname of the Alps, Caribbean, up to 50 meters high visibility depth. In addition, the color of the water acquires a bright green shade due to the grass at the bottom jumps into the lake. You can see benches, bridges and trees that create a stunning underwater landscape. But it appears only 1 month after that, the water begins to evaporate again and restore access to the park for people. A boiling lake or lake boiling. Boiling is a flooded fumarole, which is a hole the size of the lake at the foot of the volcano in the moon. Troyes Python National Park in Dominica is about 60 x 76 meters. It is the second largest lake in the world after Frying the Lake Reservoir in New Zealand is filled with boiling grayish-blue water, usually shrouded in clouds of steam. The air around is hot and humid, sharp and pungent. The first recorded mention of the lake, it was made in 1870 when researchers measured the temperature of its water and discovered that it ranges from 82 to 92 degrees Celsius. Also, the depth of the boiling lake is known by, but the water level of the lake and its activity change periodically. The depth and diameter of the reservoir are directly dependent on volcanic activity. Precipitation in this area can quickly become as the lake quickly empties. In addition, this cycle sometimes occurs in just 1 day. In fact, underground gas and water rise to the surface, cracks in the Earth's crust. But this natural miracle is impressive and fascinating. Have you heard anything about the swamp demons? Or maybe they will look a bit to someone. There is nothing evil in these extraordinary figures. Sculptor Sophie Giacomo, who is creepy. They live near the brackish marshes that make up the nature reserve. France has always loved to walk on wooden bridges. Where she had the idea and saw the change of scenery during one of these, when I decided to make a sculpture with swamp algae, I noticed that the texture of the algae is very similar to human skin, and when dried, it becomes like a cloth. So the first figure appeared, and then another. As a result of a crowdfunding company, 8 more such figures appeared in the reserve. According to the sculptor, these gloomy and beautiful swamp demons, since the figures are made of mud and seaweed, the color and texture of these sculptures not only change over time, but also change over time. The nature surrounding them is changing. These swamp statues give the observer the opportunity to think about the diversity of nature, and they are not as scary as they seem. Once a year, the Dogon tribe living in the southeast of Mali looks like this. The owner of the sacred Lake Ontoga enthusiastically wants a good catch. In the meantime, fishermen plunge into the lake to grab everything they can. In a short time fishing rush, they are flocking around the lake. Children, young people and old people, armed with conical fishing baskets and other handmade tools for catching fish. As soon as the signal is given, 400 people, they grab everything they get after about 15 minutes and jump into the lake. And another shot is heard. which means that there is an end to the ritual. A great way to make fishing exciting. And the lakes of Mali, the country is undoubtedly composed mainly of the Sahara Desert, so it is very rare, but despite the fact it gives the importance and sanctity of this reservoir, the lake is sacred. In a few minutes, the fishermen catch all the inhabitants. From it, the fish is very easy to catch in the lake, which, despite this, decreases in minutes. The solemn ritual of fishing Bantoga is an incomparable sight of the caught fish. Monitor the correct distribution among all settlements is given to the oldest wise people in the community. So, the next time you go fishing and can't catch anything, use the examples of these people diving with their bare hands and fishing for fish. According to rumors, very strange creatures live in the Chernobyl exclusion zone of Ukraine. This is due to a nuclear accident that occurred in 1986 at the fourth reactor of the nuclear power plant near the city of Pripyat, and the fish here are strange. Perhaps these catfish live in the cooling pond of the power plant. In addition, the reservoir mainly performs the function of a nature reserve. For the first time after the accident, the workers tried to come to cool the reactor after they had since then to pump radioactive water and power plant buildings into cooling ponds. More than 35 years have passed, and the power plant is no longer there, but the cooling pond has new purpose. The reservoir is inhabited by representatives of various flora and fauna. It's been exposed to radioactive elements to this day. Therefore, Chernobyl catfish can be called radioactive, but it is not mutants in any way. Undoubtedly, radiation affects the plants and animals that live in infected areas. They are really huge, but this does not make them river monsters. They are not only fed daily by tourists, there are no predators around. That is why they grow to such a huge size. This video from India, which has gained millions of views, recently appeared on the social network. The video shows how the submerged earth suddenly rises, shocking others, while the person recording the video can be heard asking people to move as the height of the ground continues to rise. It is not yet clear where this strange incident happened. Some internet users suggested that the rise of the Earth could be the result of the movement tectonic plate. Nevertheless, some people proposed to examine the cause of the incident to come to a reasonable conclusion, according to local authorities, who carefully visited the site of the incident. And this is not a geological process. Agriculture, yes, incident in an attempt to increase yields. The landowner removed a layer of earth about 3 meters deep and filled this area with rice husk ash, sand. 7 months. Heavy rain passed through this area. Water penetrated deep into the earth. Strong pressure formed, which caused the rise of the ground. Sinkholes are depressions or sinkholes in the ground caused by the flushing of soil or underlying rock by water. Funnels can be so large that they can absorb entire buildings. That's why people have been interested in them. For centuries, lakes, forest caves, coral reefs, even wildlife species, and much more. Sometimes in their depths, often, they change the landscape forever. Pretty. Just ask this poor little Chinese fish farmer about it recently, as he lost more than 25 tons of fish after the funnel appeared. Although when draining water from the bathroom, the fish only disappeared along with the pond. There is an assumption that the cause of the incident has not been officially established. Excavations at the local quarry are responsible. Local residents reported that the water level in this pond in China was a few hours later, that it had fallen at a tremendous rate. Only glowing abyss with a diameter of more than 5 meters occurs in other parts sometimes. In a small area like this lake in Florida, there are several sinkholes where 3 sinkholes seem to form out of nowhere at once. For the first time in a few years, you can see the infamous statue crucified. This great lake is the only home underwater crosses recorded in fresh water. It is located about 240 meters from the coast of the town of Petushki at the bottom of Little Traverse Bay, and there is a 3-meter white marble cross, a life-size statue of Jesus Christ crucified, which curious spectators can see ready dive into the ice bay. The story of the statue of the beginning since 1956, when a local 15-year-old boy died in an accident. His grieving family decided to buy a cross weighing 1850 pounds in Italy, 500. But in transit, the cross was quickly broken. It was sold by the largest viewing of the statue. Took place in 2015, when more than 2,000 people gathered on the ice, and only in 2019 conditions were favorable enough to make another viewing again, with holes drilled in the ice to show the statue that 1,200 people gathered to watch. These balls are large colonies of aquatic invertebrates that can be found in freshwater lakes and oceans. They catch the intestines of the mouth and passing microorganisms, and you may not notice them. While this creature is under the surface of the water at the end of summer, the colony begins to shrink, the individual dies, and the gas formed as a result of decomposition is that the good news is if these organisms appear in your pond, this is a sure sign that you have a healthy, organic environment. In it, mosses eat microscopic organisms, both good and bad, so their presence in lakes and ponds can be very useful. Let's talk about what scientists have discovered in this lake. This strange rock formation that shocked people not only looks completely out of place in this lake, but also has no clue that will help us understand what it is. Or this rock shelf is as if something went into the pond and awakened the monster from its eternal sleep. There is nothing like the open mouth of some mythical mountain monster, or there is nothing like that. Perhaps these are stone slabs, apparently supported by wooden sticks, which are some kind of ancient artwork. The inhabitants of this unexplored region have created this relic as a tribute to their gods. Maybe it was created to scare the hostile tribes, who know. But whatever the reason, this pond is such an unusual sight that we have to talk about. Leave your opinion in the comments. And that's it for me. If you like this video, don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. For me, your activity is the best reward. Thanks for your attention. See you soon for now.